Good morning, guys. One of the most amazing things we can do as human beings, as Maya Angelou reminds us today, is we can turn our struggles into triumphs. We can take defeats, losses, pain, evil, and through the power and control of our mind, we can turn it into our greatest victories, our greatest moments in life, our greatest service to others. So let's remember this advice from Maya Angelou today. It's up to you. If you are willing to look at some of the moments in your life that have caused you the most pain, the most darkness, and use your powerful mind, your thinking, and go perhaps alone and go into deep thought as she did to learn from other human beings, you can flip it and turn it all around and create the most powerfully positive force in this world that comes from you and is shared with others. Let's apply this today and forever. Have a great morning, everyone.
Be all in. And that was one of Kobe's favorite words when it related to winning. He says, you have to be obsessed with whatever your win is. And everybody looks at that word obsessed as a bad word. But look at this. If you weren't obsessed, would you have the guests that you have? Listen, how many people do you know? You just did an interview recently with, was it Tony?
Tony
And
Tony Robbins, Russell Brand, yeah.
all right. Well, if people want to hear what they have to say, you have to be obsessed in order to get that information for the people that aren't obsessed.
Absolutely. Otherwise, they wouldn't bring the information to me.
Right. So they should be thankful that, man, you know what? We're really, really thankful that Lewis is obsessed at doing what he's doing because it brings us enjoyment. It allows us not to be obsessed in that area, and we can be obsessed in some other area.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What stops us from chasing our obsession is the judgment that it's wrong. We feel that it's wrong to pour so much time and energy and effort into something, especially if it's not working out and paying dividends and results. It's, yes, the people around us telling us that, what are you doing? That's crazy. Stop doing it. But it's also us. It's our own voice in our own head saying, can I do this? Am I wasting my time? Is this thing even worth doing? And then what ends up happening is you regret not taking the action, right? We don't regret the things that we do. Often, it's usually the things that we don't do, the actions untook, the goals that you had that you were too afraid to do something on, and that obsession that we felt was wrong. Think of this in my life. I used to judge myself a lot on this, and I would get obsessed. Like, one of the things that I think now is a core strength of mine is I get obsessed on something, and then it has to happen. I was at an event, and it was a YouTube event, and there was a really, really big famous guy, runs a bunch of events, pretty well known, and I was on him for, you got to start a YouTube channel, dude. You got to start a YouTube channel. And I was just on him. Fast forward to today, is about 3 years ago. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got 6 figures in subscribers, and he's on my mind because I was texting him some thumbnail ideas this morning. And I was on him. I couldn't let it go. Like, this has to happen. You need to do this. And it just felt right. And that energy and that conviction is one of the things that help move the needle. And you've got ideas and energy and great things in you, and products you want to create, and services you want to launch, and people that you want to serve and help, and trust it and listen to it. The thing that's in your heart that is this little, it's a muscle to develop the courage to follow the obsession, because a lot of our brain takes over and tells us to be safe and be practical and do the smart thing and make sure that you're paying your bills and all of that. And yes, of course, you have to learn how to pay your bills. But where are we taught the courage muscle? Where are we taught the obsession muscle? Where are we taught to you've got this dream that is noble and worthy? Where are we taught to actually follow through on it and at least do something about it? So over the years, it's taken me a long time, and the goal with this video is to try to help it not take as long for you. Over the years, I used to judge myself for wanting something and just thinking about it constantly. And sometimes those ideas lead to long-term projects. I look at my YouTube channel, how my main channel It's been 13 years. 13 years. 13,000 videos, something like that. Not all of them are public. How? Well, it's because I'm obsessed. I want to bring more value. I want to create more content. I want to impact more entrepreneurs. It's how do you stay consistent on something? Well, because I want to do it, because I'm obsessed about it, because I feel like it's going to matter. Even at the beginning, when I had 25 subscribers in my first year and 7,000 subscribers after 5 years, like, how do you keep going? Well, I was obsessed with trying to make content that I thought would help some people. And that's been a long-term obsession. There's some that are a lot shorter term. I remember I was writing my book, Your One Word, also Built to Serve. Both of my books were flowing through me. And there was every reason why I shouldn't do it. Your One Word, I finished writing the book on my cruise. I was on vacation with my wife and we were enjoying our vacation, and it was flowing through me. It was like, I need to do this. And so while she slept, I wrote my book. And while she went to a show or did something at the spa, I finished writing the book. We still did the excursions and saw the cities together, but the second part of the cruise, I was just in, it was flowing through me. I have to get this thing done. Otherwise I know I'm going to regret it. For Built to Serve, I wrote it when I was on my tour in 2019, and I did not have time to write a book. I did not have time. I mean, I was behind on everything. We're traveling every 4 days to a new city. I'm presenting. I did not have time to do this. I did not have time. And yet it was flowing through me, and like, I'm obsessed. I have to get this done. I have to get this done. And with experience and age and time, I've learned to lean in on those things instead of judge them. Where typically what happens is you come with a great idea, you think it's great, like, it has a lot of potential, and then you immediately judge it to say, well, I can't do that. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't have the skills. I don't have the money. Why am I still spending all this time on thinking about some idea that I could never do? We instantly judge it. And maybe you do a little bit of work on it. You start trying and you taste and you test and you explore a little bit. And then what happens? If you don't get immediate results, you wake up the next day or the next week or the next month and say, see, I knew you couldn't do it. You're crazy. Why would you think you could do this? And instantly we talk ourselves down from it. And what I've learned to try to do, and I'm still working on it, is to listen to that intuition and listen to that gut. And it's right, and it's noble, and great ideas flow through you, and stop judging them. And so the process I use is, one, that great ideas flow through me. So just believe the great ideas flow through you. This is how you eliminate the overthinking and your brain getting in the way. You come with a great idea, your brain gets in the way. How do you get out of that? Great ideas flow through you. Just trust a great idea. The fact that it came to you, as long as you're in a positive, optimistic energy, serving state. If you're feeling jealous or rage, or, if somebody cuts you off in line, I'm in my car right now, we're parked, but if somebody cuts you off when you're upset, maybe the idea that comes to you is not a great idea. But if you're feeling positive and encouraged and optimistic and serving and want to help, and an idea comes to you, trust the great ideas flow through you. Just tell yourself, great ideas flow through me. And that at least gives me the courage to stop overthinking and start doing something. Step number 2 is just get started. Start. I call it the 2% difference. What's the first 2%? We waste our best energy on trying to plan out 100% of where this company or idea, business is going to grow. That's not the way to do it. You'll never plan it out 100%. You have no idea what's going to happen with this thing. And so instead of spending your best energy, this is the problem. You spend your best energy. Oh, it could be like this. We could do that. Oh, here's how it could work out. Your energy, where you feel confident and bold, you spend your best energy on research and planning instead of doing something. And research and planning are important, but it can't be the first step, because you're, again, wasting your best energy. You wake up the next day, you feel like, oh, I can't do this. So instead, your best energy, the first step, needs to be the first 2%. You're doing something. You're calling somebody. You're booking something. You're creating something. When I had an idea to start a podcast, I messaged my friend Mark and said, we're going to start a podcast. And he said, when? Tonight. What do you mean when? Tonight. When I'm back from my tour in a month and a half? No, we're starting it tonight. But we don't have the gear. What are we going to talk about? And we'll figure it out. We're going to drive to my Airbnb, and we're going to launch our podcast together tonight. It has to happen tonight, or it's not going to happen. Right? That becomes the process. Super important. And step number 3 is just expect to suck at the start. Expect to suck at the start. We expect to be great for whatever reason at the beginning of when we're doing our thing, right? We expect to be great. Don't expect to be great. Expect to suck. Expect the first thing to be terrible, for it not to work out. Cheers. It's not going to work out. Not as you plan. Not at the beginning. You don't get on a bike and just ride it. You don't make a video and just crush it, right? It doesn't mean that you suck as a person. You just don't have the skill set yet. And by practicing and trying and tasting and testing, you'll get a little bit better. And when you start something and you expect to be great and then you're not great, you quit. But when you start something and you expect it to be terrible, then anything above terrible is progress, is momentum, is a win, and celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that you took a step. Celebrate the fact that you recorded a video. Celebrate the fact that you wrote the first page in your book. Celebrate the fact that you launched your first episode of a podcast. Even though you don't know what questions to talk about, what questions to ask, the formatting, all of that stuff, that doesn't matter. You started. Momentum. You celebrate the momentum and expect the results to suck at the beginning. And if you keep going, you'll learn the skill to get better at the thing. So it's okay to be obsessed. It's okay. There's a great idea inside you that you know you want to work on, that you know you need to do. Be obsessed on it. Start small. Create something right now. Apply the 2% difference. Trust that great ideas flow through you. Expect to suck at the beginning and make it. Because otherwise, you look back on your life at this moment and say, I could have done something back then, and I wish I had. Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Good afternoon, guys. How's it going today? Are we taking our defeats? Are we taking our struggles and turning them into triumphs, or at least thinking about it? If we're not, or haven't had some success today, don't give up. This is where belief and determination steps in. This is where you have to remind yourself of how powerful your thoughts are. So go back at it again. If the day's not over for you, or if you are simply thinking about something that has happened, remember, you have a chance to learn from it now, but you have to believe that you can learn from it. You have to never give up on thinking about how you can learn from it. And that will turn this defeat, this loss, this pain that you may be going through, this challenge, it'll turn it into a victory. And it'll continue to build and build. But just don't give up and continue to believe that you can do it. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
People need hope, especially now.
What do you think about, crying is bad in the business, or never show your weaknesses?
And that's the most beautiful thing that I can share with the world.
Could you lead us through a quick prayer?
I would love that.
Today's episode of Model to Masters is brought to you by TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is your best friend on your road to YouTube success. I use it every day on my channel to get more views and subscribers, automate the boring tasks, and split test my thumbnails and titles. I've done over 3,800 split tests, which have led to results like taking this 5-year-old video that was getting 250 views a day, and just by changing the thumbnail, it blew up to 15,000 views per day. You can get started on TubeBuddy for free at tubebuddy.com/Evan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the super talented, successful singer, actress, entrepreneur, leader of the Allegiance, and now,
Yes.
now author of the new book right here, Finding Your Harmony. We got it, matching colors.
I'm so happy. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy you have it. I hope you love it.
Ali Brooke in the house. How you doing?
Yes. I'm doing great. You know what's funny? I actually got 1 hour of sleep last night. So I'm here in Atlanta filming a movie, and we filmed very late last night. But despite just having 1 hour of sleep, I feel great. I'm happy. I'm thankful. I'm thriving. So it's all good, and I'm happy to be talking to you today. Thank you.
Well, you're crushing it for 1 hour sleep. So
Trying.
why a book? So you've done so many things. You had the group, you had the solo, and you're still doing the solo stuff. You've been on so many shows. Why a book? Why now? Tell us the story behind it.
Yes. So I've been through so much in my little life, even though I'm super young. And I thought this was a perfect opportunity to share everything that I've been through, all the highs and lows, the trials and tribulations, the struggles, and be real, bear my truth, bear my story, and use this to hopefully help other young girls who have the same dreams as me, or who just want to survive another day. You know, people need hope, especially now. And I've had those moments where I've had victory mountaintop moments that feel phenomenal. And I've also had those moments where I've been crying on the floor, like praying to God, God, why is this happening? God, will I ever live my life to the fullest? Will my dreams ever come true? And now living in a place where I'm so fulfilled, I've overcome so much, and I'm truly living my best life right now. I just want to share that with people, share that hope and wisdom, and all that I can in my heart, in my book.
I love it. Now you talk about your grandma a lot in this book.
Oh, yeah. My beautiful grandma.
She seemed to be such a source of inspiration as well as support for you.
Yeah.
And there's so many pictures of her in here, and you see her kind of you growing up with her. And obviously, you know, so she's not here, and she didn't get to see the launch of your book and everything that's happened. From her kind of looking down from where she's at right now, what do you think she's saying? What do you think she's thinking, cheering you on with the new book?
Well, so I think you're probably talking about my dad's mom, and oh my gosh, she would be so proud. I lost her at a very young age, and she would be just beyond proud. And you know, the other night when my book came out and it was midnight, I FaceTimed my parents, and they were just crying, and they were so overjoyed. And this is something that is not just for me, but it's for my family. It's their story too in this book. And that's the most beautiful thing that I can share with the world, is that light that they deserve. And my dad was just saying, he was like, Mama, she would be so proud. And he got really emotional. And seeing her photos in this book, you know, it's very, very special. So she would be proud, and she would be smiling, and she would be getting all of the copies that she could. I know she would. Yes. Oh, my beautiful grandma.
I love the how personal you made everything. Yeah. There you go. Matching pages.
Look how beautiful she was. And that's me and my brother, Brandon. She's an angel.
I love how personal you made everything. And I love how you also put, you know, pictures in here, but also like full on glossy pictures to really kind of show, you know, to show your life and show what you've been through. And people may think you haven't been around that long, but you've been singing since you were 9 years old, right? It's not like you just popped up and came out of nowhere.
Totally. And that's a thing that maybe people don't realize. You know, sometimes you see these artists or entertainers and you're like, oh, wow, you know, it must have been so easy for them, or their success was very rapid or overnight or whatever, but it is not. I have been at this for so many years and have been through it all, you know, rejection, and even people just being rude, everyone in the industry, from like different labels to different managers, just kind of tearing me apart and saying that, hey, you know, I don't believe in you, you're not worth anything, blah, blah, blah. And it breaks you. But again, just pushing through that and being triumphant, coming out on the other side is it's so incredible, and it's so important to share, because so many people go through that where they, you know, they hear so much negativity, you know, whether it could be in their workspace or on social media. But again, just being reminded that there's light. There's a light. So that's my purpose.
I love it. Now, you said you were shy growing up. Are you still shy? Did you break it? Is it still in you? Like, how
Oh
do
my
you?
God. No, I am not shy. Well, you know, it's funny because now, and I really honestly do attribute this to one of my heroes, Selena. When I was a young girl, you know, like you said, I was super shy, but watching her personality in her movie, and I do talk about it in the book, she inspired me to be my best self and to come out of my shell. And so I feel like I get so much of my inspiration from her. But now I'm totally the opposite. I'm not shy. I love talking to everybody. In fact, I thrive off of conversations and meeting my fans in person. And it's such a bummer that I can't do that. You know, we were planning this whole book tour and all, but it's okay. I actually have a virtual book tour tonight. And of course, we have technology now, which is awesome. But you know what's funny though? I will admit, when it comes to me meeting like certain celebrities, I actually get like starstruck and I kind of just close off and I become shy.
Who's the ultimate on your list that you still want to connect with and say hi to?
Ooh, oh my gosh, there's so many. Well, I talk about Carrie Underwood in this and how she helped to bring me out of such a low place in my life, and how her music kind of just brought so much life into me and light. So to be able to meet her and just to say what her music means to me, she's such an inspiration for many years. That would be incredible. Also, Dolly Parton. I love Dolly Parton so much.
Wow. Okay.
Awesome. There's so many different artists out there who I love, but those are a few.
Is that part of your ambition to have, like, if you think about the longevity, how long has Dolly Parton been in the business and still going? Like, is that
Yes.
part of the inspiration? Is like, I look at her and say, when I'm, you know, maybe that old, but in a nice way, I would still love to be doing the work, right? To still be contributing.
Yes.
I don't sing, but I make videos. Is that part of why you love her?
Oh my gosh, yes. And what I love about she's just like an angel. What I love about her is that she is just such a pure-hearted, loving, beautiful soul. And you know, in this business, that's sometimes not celebrated. I mean, I've been told before that, oh, you're too nice, or oh, you gotta like be someone else, you know, you gotta be a little more rude or whatever, crazy things. And it's like, no, it's possible. And for me, it's all about longevity, you know, and that's why I do what I do. I have passions in so many areas, obviously writing, obviously music, now acting, and just entertaining in general. And it's about not just the next year or two, it's about the next 20 years, 30 years. So that's definitely what I aspire to be like one day, and also just to be known, not for any drama or anything like that, but just to be known for the music and hopefully the heart. So I love that.
I love it. So, I mean, the book, here it is, Finding Your Harmony. You guys can pick it up on YouTube. We'll link it up in the description. What's the most, I'm sure there's so many stories that came out of this. Obviously, you're sharing your story, but the reaction that's come out. What's the story that fills you up the most, or you're most grateful for, or whether it's fan or family that's come from the launch of the book?
Just to hear the feedback of how people really saw my heart in this, and how it inspired them in their faith and their walk, and them to not give up hope is incredible. That is the purpose of this book. And then also saying my fans are now, they haven't read it yet, but they're getting into it and on certain chapters, and they're so moved. And I see their comments right now, and they're crying with me. They're relating to my stories, and they're hopefully going to see that, hey, I went through everything that you are going through. It may be in a different sphere, but it's still all the same. Pain's the same. Rejection's the same. You know, online bullying's the same. And for me, I give so many tools and tips in the book on how to overcome that, how to survive it, and how to just get through life. So just hearing so far that it's already touched people, and also they just love my parents and they get that recognition that I saw a comment, I think yesterday, saying like, oh my gosh, I'm just beginning your book and your parents, I just want to hug them. It's incredible. It's the best feeling. They deserve the world.
Talk about showing emotion, because you wear your heart on your sleeve. You're so, open in sharing, I mean, the big highs, but also the devastating lows and the crushes. And, you can feel the crying with you through some of the sections of the book. What do you think about, crying is bad in the business, or never show your weaknesses, like that whole line of thinking? What would you say to them?
I think certain mottos work for certain people. For me, this business, look, people handle it differently. You know what I mean? And like, I remember, oh my gosh, there was a point where I didn't even put this in the book, but one example, we were at an award show, and last minute, I think there was a huge change, and I was being told, because I think it had to do something with wardrobe or something, and there was all this pressure on me, and all of these like just crazy, I don't want to say accusations at all, but basically I was trying to stand up for myself and say, hey, like, I'm not comfortable with this and that. And then this person tells me, demeans me, and it's like, you're not a woman, stop crying, you need to not show emotion, you need to be a leader, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like over here right before we perform, crying my eyes out. And she was like an assistant, or day-to-day manager, excuse me, who witnessed this. And she was like, Allie, don't you dare listen to what that woman said. You are amazing. I don't know how you just took that right now. You took that way better than I would. Don't let her words affect you. And I just felt like, wow. Like, I felt so just shattered, and embarrassed, humiliated, and your mind's just second guessing yourself. I feel like because of that, and also seeing in the Fifth Harmony days, like, oh my gosh, Allie's like crying or whatever. Like you said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm emotional, but not in like a extreme way. I feel like it's more of, I just feel things deeply. Like, I'm an empath. I'm a deep feeler. I say that in my book. And so when things hurt, it really tears up my heart. And when things are incredible, I mean, it just feels like I'm touching the sky. But anyways, with that thinking, look, it works for a lot of different people. Yes, I feel like I've definitely worked on kind of being a little bit more stronger and honing in my emotions. But I think, especially as women, like, we want to, cry because something devastating happened, or we're overwhelmed or whatever. I mean, that's fine. You should feel safe. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously handling that in the correct way and managing your emotions in a healthy manner. But yeah, I just feel like each to their own, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I thought it was super refreshing.
Good evening, guys. One of the most exciting things that drives me every single day to continue living, laughing, and loving my way to infinite mind wealth, and the reason why I'm trying to share my journey in life with you in the hopes of helping you, is because I know that we can take our struggles and turn them into our triumphs. We can take our pain and turn it into our greatest pleasure. And I want to share with you my personal story briefly. The reason why I'm so passionate about the power and control of our minds and how I believe it's possible is because I've had challenges with regards to my mind. I've had struggles. I've had pains, defeats in life, but I'm using them as fuel now. And I want you to as well. And I've learned from so many people that have done that. So if they can do it, we can do it. So let's continue that as we're on our path. Have a great evening, everyone.
95% of your life is coming from observing the other people, not observing you, observing the other people. And so your behavior isn't yours. Now, Steve brings up the most important question. Well, how do we change these behaviors? And I go, first of all, you don't even know what the behaviors are because you weren't there when they were being programmed. What did you learn when you were in utero? Oh, you don't know. What did you learn during the year from 0 to 1? Oh, you weren't there. You don't remember. Oh, what did you learn from 1 to 2? And I'm saying your conscious mind wasn't working at that time. So whatever happened, it's not in your conscious mind. And so the significance about all this is profound because what the significance is, you don't know your program. And I go, oh, so what are my programs? And now, thank God, I can tell you what your programs are because of this. 95% of your life is coming from the program. Your life is a printout of your programs. You don't have to go backwards in your life. You could just say, where am I today? And here's a simple point. So all of you out there, ready? The things that you like that come into your life, they come in because you have programs to acknowledge them. But the things you want, the things you desire, and you have to work hard. You have to sweat. I'm going to sweat over this. I'm putting a lot of effort. I'm working real hard to make this. Why are you working so hard? The answer is whatever that destination you were trying to get to, your subconscious program does not support that destination. And that's why your conscious mind is working so hard to get there. So I say you got programs and you got them before you even knew you were being programmed. And then we have to identify those programs because if you want to change your life and you want to make it one that has wishes and desires, then you have to assess what are your programs now so that you can then change those programs and create the life you want.
Need motivation?
Watch Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Bruce Lipton, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, accumulate knowledge.
There's an old phrase, Amrit, that is just a stock phrase of the world because it's truism. It says, knowledge is power. And everyone goes, oh, yeah, knowledge is power, blah, 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 blah. And I go, no. Let me say it in a way that might be relevant to us now. I say, a lack of knowledge is a lack of power. And I say, we have been deprived of knowledge of who we really are. How powerful we are, because all the knowledge we get in growing up is how weak we are, how vulnerable. Oh my God, viruses are coming, parasites are coming, blah, 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 blah. Everything's falling apart. And I go, well, that's not true. It is true if you don't recognize your power. And I say, well, what power? And I go, well, one of the first things that disempowered us was the belief that genes control our life. Oh, why does that disempower us? I go, well, simple point. It says that as far as you know, you didn't pick the genes you came with. If you don't like your characteristics, you can't change the genes you came with. And then I add this little last one, the creepy one that says, well, the genes turn on and off by themselves without you. And I go, then why is this relevant? Well, if the genes are controlling my life and they're turning on and off without me, I am, definition, a victim of my heredity. Oh, there's heart disease running in my family. Oh, I'm going to get it. Cancer. Oh, I'm going to get the cancer. It's running in my genes. I go, that's a bunch of BS. Oh, that means belief system. That's a bunch of why is that relevant? And I say, because the idea that genes turn on and off by themselves is the biggest false story that you bought into, which took away your power because it says genes control you, you don't control your genes. And that's why you look at your fate is what genes did my mom and dad give me because my future is going to be determined. And I go, completely false. Genes cannot turn on and off. And I go, we've been programmed. Gene turned on. Cancer gene turned on. Gave me cancer. I go, no. A gene is a blueprint to make a protein. And I go, okay, let's unpack that. I go, the body that you see in the mirror, look on the screen, see yourself, all that. And I go, that is made out of protein building blocks. There are about 100,000 different protein types that come together, assemble them together, and I make a muscle cell out of some proteins, make a brain cell out of some other different proteins. So if I, try to tell the audience, I say, well, proteins are like Lego kit, Lego parts. They got 100,000 different pieces, different shaped pieces. And I say, how you assemble the Lego can create a muscle cell, how you assemble them can create a brain cell, a skin cell. And I go, so the point about it is this: proteins are the building blocks, but proteins break down. So you have to replace them. But I go, oh, they're very complex molecules. And I go, where do we get the proteins when they break down? I go, we have DNA. I say, what's that? It's a blueprint on how to make a protein. I go, so what? I go, it's a blueprint. I go, so? I go, this is the story I always say. So you go into an architect's office and she's working on a blueprint. And I say, lean over her shoulder and go, hey, tell me, is your blueprint on or off? And she would look at me and go, what are you, crazy? It's a blueprint. There's no on and off. It's a blueprint. I go, aha, you're finally going to get it. A gene is a blueprint. It does not turn itself on and off. It doesn't know what it does. It doesn't know why it's needed. It has no knowledge other than how to make a protein. And I go, but you gave power to the genes. That's what we did. Oh, the genes control me. And I go, no. It's like the architect story. There's a blueprint. Blueprint doesn't work by itself, but it works with an architect who can read the blueprint and even modify the blueprint. And I go, oh, well, if the genes are the blueprint, then who's the architect? I go, our consciousness is ultimately translated into chemistry that goes into the blood. And that chemistry is what controls our genes.
Rule number 3, take your power back.
It's time for us to wake up and recognize that there's a program being played out here. We're in a Darwinian program because everyone accepts that as, oh, that's the science, even though Darwinian theory is wrong, because evolution isn't on competition. Evolution is cooperation. That's the new insight that changes the game of struggle into harmony when we start to recognize we all have been programmed with a belief that if you're not out there fighting, somebody's going to walk all over you and you lose. So you better go out there and struggle and win and fight and all that. And I go, again, a garden is not a battleground. It's the height of cooperation and harmony. And what we have to do is let go. And the idea is the more you invest in the existing program, the more consciousness you feed that existing program, the more you broadcast the pattern of that existing program. And the only way out is stop. Does that mean I don't read the news? Well, actually, I don't read it. I just read the damn headlines, and that's enough for me to go, okay, I don't want to be there. I live in a different world. No, I'm in the same world as you. No, but I live in a different world. Why? Well, sometimes we have to recognize maybe it's time to take your power back. Maybe it's time to take your job back and do something that is more in harmony with your life. I mean, I was a tenured professor in a medical school, but when I realized I was teaching incorrect information that genes control life, which is totally false, I said, no, I can't do this anymore. And the beautiful part about it is, guess what? I'm living this most wonderful life. And I go, how did I do that? I said, I had to let go of the programs that I knew I was engaged in that didn't offer vitality, life, energy, love. If they didn't offer it, then get the hell off of it because it sucks your energy. Energy is life. I talk about what's called an energy checkbook. And I go, what's that? I go, you have a bank account. That's the money in there is your life. I go, yeah, it is. I go, you just don't write checks for nothing. Hey, oh, Lynn, what a beautiful blue sweater you have here. Let me give you $20. That was really nice. You know, you don't do something like that. And I say, we have been giving away our energy so much with no return coming back. I go, what do you mean? I say, well, you get into some like a political argument between people and they get all heated up and they use all this energy. And I said, and after the argument, what changed? Nothing. I said, then what the heck? Energy is life. You just gave away your energy. You're losing life. And that's when all of a sudden I realized, invest your energy into things that either enhance your vitality or the vitality of the world in which we're living, because those are places to build a better world. To invest your energy in the negative things and all that kind of stuff like that, you're building a bad world with that. And you're using your own energy, your life gets shortened. And so the reality is consciousness is real. It's a currency. And if you use it and spend it appropriately, you can have a much better life.
Rule number 4, eliminate negative beliefs.
Negative beliefs are equally powerful in controlling your health as are positive beliefs, except in the opposite direction. A positive belief can heal you from any disease. A negative belief can kill you by creating any disease. A belief can create the disease as much as a belief can create the healing. And I go, so the significance of this is profound because nobody talks about the negative belief. And I go, negative beliefs are powerful. It's called nocebo, as you mentioned. And as I said, they can cause any disease and they can kill you. Just because you believe you're going to die, you can die just from the belief. Just as much as you are dying of a cancer, you change your belief and you can then heal the cancer. I go, how? I love this because a friend of mine, her name is Anita Moorjani, and she wrote a book called Dying to Be Me. She had 4 years of cancer. In the final days of her life, in the final week, she was so emaciated that the cancer lumps were sticking out of her skin because she lost so much body weight, and the cancer lumps were sticking out. She's on a machine for life support. She goes into a coma, and her oncologist, who's been working with cancer patients for years, says, oh, this is the final stage of a person before they die. So get in touch with all the family members and say, Anita is dying. She's in a coma. This is a sign that's the end of her life. And she has an out-of-body experience, a consciousness change. That the issues that were related to her life had to do with a lot of the fact that she was so feeling guilty of upsetting her family. She came from an Indian family with prearranged marriages, and she pulled out of a prearranged marriage about 3 days before the wedding, which made her family look like, low-class people. It's like, you broke a prearranged marriage. That's like against the rules and everything. That irritated her father, who she had a lot of love, but then that irritated her father, and then she felt she's now alienated from that love. That's what precipitated the cancer. Her out-of-body experience on the last day of her life, according to her oncologist, she had an out-of-body experience of communicating with her dead father, who said, no, what happened on earth stays on earth. When you transcend, you're not there anymore. And everything's wonderful, and we love you, and all that. She comes out of the coma, and the first thing she says, I want to eat something. She was like, give me some ice cream. And she was like, what? Within a day, she was off the machines. Within a week to 2 weeks, there was no visible cancer anymore. And in fact, the doctors were saying, it's in there somewhere. And she kept saying, no, there's no more cancer. And they kept looking, and after a couple more weeks of looking, they said, no, she doesn't have any sign of cancer. She was on her last day of life with cancer, and a belief changed that she realized her father is not angry with her. She didn't alienate the love of her family. And that thought, when she woke up out of the coma, was the placebo, in a sense, of the healing thought that healed her from her last day of life. So people with cancer, and they're all struggling, I go, even to the very last day, the moment you change that consciousness is the moment you can have the cancer go into remission and disappear. Killing the cancer cells is like, oh, I'm going to get those evil cells. And I said, the cells were just following the instructions that came from your consciousness. You don't want evil cells, then change the evil thoughts coming from your consciousness. The cancer disappears. So it's a power that we have. It's a power of our creativity, which we don't believe in. And I go, okay, quantum physics is the most valid, truthful science in the sense that the theoretical understanding of quantum physics matches every experiment that has been understood about it. I go, well, let me tell you the first principle of quantum physics. That principle is consciousness is creating our life experiences. You want to change your life experiences? Don't change the world. Change the consciousness. The world will change behind that.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5,